Hello, it's Victoria Van Zura. I wanted to share with you some tips about how to read your child's VALLSS score sheet. So this document came home yesterday and it looks like this, and I just kind of wanted to talk through what each of these things mean, what should you look for, and how does it help you understand how your child is doing with reading. So the first thing you want to pay attention to is the score at the top, and I want you to compare both the fall score and the mid-year score. Look at the numbers there, and one thing that you're looking for is to see growth from the first number to the second. So that's a good sign that your kid is making progress. You also want to look at whether they were ranked low risk, moderate risk, or high risk. Ideally, your child is low risk. That means they are where they need to be. Moderate risk means, oh, they might need additional support with reading, and high risk means they need a lot of extra support with reading. And so it's pretty normal at the beginning of the year for children to be in the moderate category, especially if they haven't had a lot of experience with letters, letter sounds, or reading. And then what we like to see is they move from moderate to low by the middle of the year. That means they're picking up what we're throwing down. So you can see this child here was in the moderate risk category at the beginning of the year, and they're now low risk. So they've picked up a lot. I want to show you how to read some of these line items too. So for example, for alphabet knowledge, letter sounds, this child at the beginning of the year knew 13 letter sounds out of 28. And by the middle of the year, they know 23 out of 28. So they've grown by 10 letter sounds, which is awesome. In the next category, it's beginning sounds. They did not know any or how to identify any out of 10, but by the middle of the year, they can get 10 out of 10, which is great. And another example, phoneme blending. They started being able to blend 2 words out of 10, and now they're at 10 out of 10. So this is kind of how you read each line item to see how many they got out of what was the available score they could get. Any asterisk is a kind of a sign that they were not hitting the benchmark that we would like them to be at the point in the year that we're in. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what each of those categories means. So the first one, letter sounds, is pretty simply, I point to an A, can the kid go ah? If I point to a C, do they go k? If I point to an F, do they go f? And the reason there is 28 instead of 26 is they include 2 digraphs on here, ch and sh. And we haven't taught those yet, so most students don't know them yet because we don't teach it till the spring. So I just wanted you to know why there's 28. The next one is beginning sounds. The teacher will say, what's the beginning sound of the word mop? And the student has to be able to go, or the teacher will say, what's the beginning sound in the word cat? And they have to go, k. So this has no letters, right? This is all just phonological. This is all just listening. Can you hear the sounds, and can you isolate it and identify what the first sound of a word is? Continuing in that vein is like the blending skill. So in this one, the teacher will go, p, and the child needs to put it together and say map. So the teacher isolates the sounds, the kid blends it together. Now segmenting, they do just the opposite. So the teacher will say a word like map, and the child has to be able to go p. Again, no letters involved, just sounds. So if this was one that your child needed help on, you can do this without any type of visual. You just do it by listening to the words. Now, encoding does include letters. Encoding is the fancy word for writing, and in this one, it's like a spelling test, essentially. The teacher will say, write map, and the student needs to write the word map. Now, the good thing here is they get partial credit if they get any of the letters correct. So, for example, if a child wrote mop, and they didn't catch that the A, that the middle sound is an A and not an O, they still got credit for having the beginning and ending sound correct. So we always encourage the children to put down any sounds that they hear. Real world decoding is reading, and we give them a list of 10 words, and the child needs to just read them. Map, get, sit, chip. The last 2 include the digraphs. So if your child had 8 out of 10, that's why. So yeah, that's just reading. And then the last one is pseudo word decoding. We call this one the silly game, where we're going to give you 10 words that are not real, like bip and gop and muck. And the child needs to be able to use their knowledge of letter sounds and blending to read the word, even though it's not a real word, because that shows us that they know the sounds and the letters and how to blend, regardless of if they just knew cat because they've seen cat so much that they know how to read cat. So it's just kind of a check against memorization, I would say. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. I'm always available to answer questions or work with you on strengthening your child's reading. Feel free to reach out. Thank you so much.